Kan
Norma.
oh, okay. Selamat pagi, Prof. Norma. Good morning, Prof. Norma. How are you today? Prof. Norma, can you hear me? Not yet, kayaknya, Pak. It's okay. You can check the video, Pak. Good morning, Prof. Norma. How are you today?
Ya, enggak apa-apa. Iya, masih anu ya.
Morning. Assalamualaikum, Bu Prof. Norma.
Good morning, Prof. Norma.
Kayaknya.
Still muted, I think.
Nggak mute, tapi suaranya nggak masuk.
Oh, suaranya belum masuk. We cannot hear you yet, Prof. Norma. It's connecting. It's okay. We'll be waiting. Good morning, Prof. Norma. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good morning.
How are you today?
Right, Alhamdulillah.
Thank you for joining us early. Later on, the presentation will be 20 minutes. We got your presentation already. The PowerPoint is with us, but do you want?
I will manage.
Yes.
I will manage the presentation. Yeah.
20 minutes, Professor.
No. I mean, I will manage my own presentation.
Oh, you will manage your own. Yes, thank you. Can you please try to share screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I will do now. Can
Yes,
I?
please. Yes, please. Yes. To check the function of the sharing screen.
Enak kalau dengar orang ngomong fasih itu.
I will share. Yeah, can you see?
Very clear,
okay.
Prof. Norma. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Later on, the presentation will be 20 minutes. After that, we'll take the questions, 2 questions from the audience immediately after your presentation.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Professor Syed Hasan Alsagoff, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much for joining us early. Can you please help us to check the sharing screen function? Can you please share your screen?
Okay, 1 minute, yeah.
All right.
Full screen. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay, 1 minute. Oh, share.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, very clear. The sound also very good. Later on, the presentation will be 20 minutes. After that, we will take questions from the audience
Okay.
immediately after your presentations. Only 2 questions from the audience. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So I'll share my presentation from my side and I'll click my side, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay. All right.
very much. Okay. Professor Bona, can we start now?
Oh, it's already now all?
Yes.
Yes,
We
okay.
have Prof. Suprapto here, then Professor Syed Hasan Alsagoff, Prof. Norma is here, and then Prof. Takashi Yasuno is also here. Okay. Then we will begin now. Thank you very much.
Oh iya.
Itu kita apa?
Suaranya nggak kedengeran, Pak? Memang belum pakai suara ya ini? Cek. Hmm. Hmm. Ah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We would like to say welcome to the international seminar entitled 6th International Conference of Graduate School on Sustainability ICGSS and 2nd International Conference in Social Science ICONIS. First, we would like to acknowledge the distinguished speakers for today's seminar, Professor Dr. Insinyur Suprapto, DEA, from 10 November Institute of Technology Surabaya, and the head of the Service Institution of Higher Education for Region 7 East Java Province, Professor Dr. Norma Omar from University Technology Mara, Malaysia, Professor Dr. Syed Hassan Al-Sagof from Islamic Development Bank, Singapore, Professor Dr. Serkan Dilek Kastamonu from Kastamonu University, Turkey, Professor Dr. Takashi Yasuno from Tokushima University, Japan, Professor Dr. Eko Prasojo from University of Indonesia, Associate Professor Kasi Zohak, PhD from Ural Federal University, and Professor Dr. Grahita Chandrarin, AKCA from University of Merdeka Malang, and WCP Awardee 2021. And we would like to extend our warmest greeting to the head of our institution, the chairman of the Foundation of Merdeka Malang, the rectors and vice rector of University of Merdeka Malang, the director of postgraduate program, and the deans of the faculties, the honorable guests and participants of this seminar. My name is Andini Risvandini, and it is an honor to be your master of ceremonies for today's event. Before we begin with the seminar, I would like to introduce to you the agenda of today's event. First, we will begin the event by listening to our national anthem, Indonesia Raya. Second, we will listen to the recitation of prayer. Third, a reporting speech from the conference chairman. Fourth, a welcome speech from the first rector of the University of Merdeka Malang and opening the conference. Fifth, speaker's presentation. Sixth, break. 7, para session. And ladies and gentlemen, before we begin with our main event, we would like to invite you to listen to the national anthem of Indonesia, Indonesia Raya. Please observe the proper decorum for the singing of the national anthem. Thank you. Now we will invite Professor Dr. Agus Salahuddin to lead our prayer recitation section.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, all the participants of the international conference, let us take a moment to pray to Allah, the most merciful, so that Allah give His blessing in this conference, and may it give us many benefits. We will lead the prayer in Islamic way. We are hoping that the other religion audiences would just. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Hamdan kathiran tayyiban mubarakan fihi ala kulli hal. Hamdan yuafi ni'mahu wa yukafi mazidah. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi lil karim wa adim sultanik. Oh Allah, the most merciful, to you belong all the praises in the morning. We are gathered here to do an international conference of graduate school on sustainability. We pray for you, O Allah, for a healthy body and soul, an open mind and heart, to be able to receive useful knowledge, a blessed wealthy, all to serve you in this world. Allahumma inna nas'aluka ilman nafi'a wa rizqan wasi'a wa amalan mutaqabbala wa shifaan min kulli da'in wa saqamin birahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Oh Allah, the ruler, every single thing on earth is your creation. You are the only ruler, the only protector, the one who has the biggest power, and all the universe, the world. We are praying for you. Please bless us with a bright mind, pure heart, a guided path, all to say thank to you by doing the best we want, to optimize our knowledge so that we could make a better world, to take care and to optimize our resources, to make a better society and stronger nation, so that we all could have a prosperous life with your mercy and blessings. Barakatun, tayyibatun, warabbun ghafur. Bismillahi ma sha Allah, la yasukul khaira illallah. Bismillahi ma sha Allah, la yasrifu su'a illallah. Bismillahi ma sha Allah, ma kana min ni'matin faminallah. Bismillahi ma sha Allah, la hawla wa la quwata illa billahil aliyil azim. Oh Allah, the most merciful, Allahumma a'inna ala dzikrika wa syukrika wa husni ibadatika. Please bless us with the ability to always remember you, by never stop doing dhikr to you, to always be grateful to all your blessing, and to do all the good deeds you have ordered us to do. Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka antas samiul alim wa tub alaina innaka antat tawwabur rahim. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Amin, amin ya Rabbal Alamin. Thank you, Professor Agus Salahuddin, for the prayer. May our events today will be blessed and run successfully. Next, we would like to invite the chairman of the conference. Please welcome Professor Dr. Bonaventura, MSI.
Well, Excellencies, keynote speaker and invited speakers, members of the steering committee, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 6th International Conference of Graduate School on Sustainability, IGGSS, and the 2nd International Conference on Social Sciences, ICONIS. As we enter a new era of global democracy, more innovative governance practices will demand the attention of all disciplines, ensuring that the presence of professionals is always relevant to the complexity of challenges confronting nations in various parts of the world. This conference facilitates the interaction of thoughts and experience to explore sustainable innovations from the viewpoints, that is, public policy, economics, law, and technology, while promoting an interdisciplinary approach from a variety of views to enable the exchange of the best ideas and concepts. This academic event invites presenters from all around the world who wish to share their expertise and knowledge by offering a selection of high-quality keynote sessions with some eminent speakers as follows. Professor Dr. Suprapto from 10 November Institute of Technology, Surabaya, and also Chairman of LLDT 7, Indonesia. The second is Professor Norma Omar from University Teknologi Mara, Malaysia. The third is Professor Syed Hassan Al-Sagaf from Islamic Development Bank, Singapore. The follows is Professor Serkan Dilek from Kastamonu Universities, Turkey. Next is Professor Takashi Yasuhino from Tokushima University in Japan. Next is Professor Eko Prasojo from University of Indonesia. And Associate Professor Kasi Sohak from Ural Federal University of Russia. And the last is Professor Dr. Graita Chandrarin, MSc, AKCA from University of Merdeka Malang. The conference addressed several major issues, including the following. That is, the first, governance and democracy turned under global capitalism. The second is sustainable economics and business in the new normal era. The third is law and criminal justice. The fourth is digital ecosystem for sustainable engineering and technology. So, we would like to thank the Director of the University of Merdeka Malang, the Director of Postgraduate Program, the University of Merdeka Malang, to all plenary speakers, to all invited speakers, all presenters, and all participants. So it has been an incredible pleasure collaborating with all related parties, since it created such a good atmosphere and allowed us to honor intellectual achievement from benefit of future generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Bonaventura. Next, we would like to invite the Vice Rector of University of Merdeka Malang to give his opening speech and to open the conference officially. Please welcome Dr. Engineering Dwi Arman Prasetya, ST.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ohayo gozaimasu, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the University of Merdeka Malang, first allow me in this opportunity to welcome all today's international conference participants by first praying our grateful and praise to the Almighty God for all His blessing, grace, mercies that have made us possible to gather here in this conference in excellent condition and health. Secondly, I would like to express my sincere gratitude and welcome you to the 6th International Conference of Graduate School and Sustainability, and also 2nd International Conference on Social Science. Moreover, I honorably would like to welcome all our keynote speakers, Professor Dr. Suprapto, DEA from Institut Teknologi 10 November, Surabaya, and also Head of the Service Institution of Higher Education for Region 7, East Java Province, and Professor Dr. Syed Hassan Al-Sagaf from Islamic Development Bank from Singapore, and also Professor Dr. Norma Omar from University Teknologi Mara, Malaysia, and also Watashi no Sensei wa Professor Dr. Takashi Yasuno from Tokushima University, Japan. Thank you very much. And my best friend, Associate Professor Kasi Sohak from Ural Federal University, Russia, and Professor Dr. Eko Prasojo from University of Indonesia, and also Professor Dr. Serkan Dilek from Kastamonu University, Turkey, and also Professor Dr. Grahita Chandarin from University of Merdeka Malang. Today, the world is facing many challenges, especially in this pandemic era. That is why we must address the sustainability innovation to deliver improvement and efficiency in many kind of aspects. It is my hope that the 6th ICGSS and also 2nd ICO and ISS will be able to achieve their objectivities in providing an effective forum for academicians, researchers, and practitioners to advance knowledge, research, and technology, especially in sustainable innovation. We need to compromise and adapt with the new normal era to build a better life and to save society through the application of knowledge. This will include a governance, economic and business, law, and digital ecosystem. Thus, the future generation will be able to cope with their needs. Furthermore, we should be clearly aware of the importance of interdisciplinary cooperation. We need to promote cooperation among the profession, natural and social scientists, and the public in the creation and application of knowledge for enhancing nation productivity and competitiveness. Finally, my deepest gratitude goes to Advisory Board, Organizing Committee, International Scientific Committee, institution, company, and volunteer who have directly and indirectly supported the success of this conference. The committee has organized a vibrant scientific program and has worked hard to present highly respected and international speakers in this international conference. Should there be inconvenience that occur before, during, or after that event, on behalf of the University of Merdeka Malang, please accept our sincere apologies. Hopefully, we all can significantly give more contribution to the nation advancement in the not too distant future. To all our distinguished guests and participants, thank you for being here and enjoy the conference. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Arman. Our honorable guests and participants, we finally begin with our main section today for today's event, which is the international seminar entitled 6th International Conference of Graduate School on Sustainability, ICGSS, and 2nd International Conference in Social Science, ICONIS. Before we begin with our main event, I would like to thank you for joining us in Zoom meeting platform. You can also join us in our YouTube live streaming channel at Unmer channel. Please allow me to read the Zoom meeting instruction for the conference participant. All of the participants must have their camera on at all times during the conference. Please use the virtual background that will be provided in the chat box. If you have any questions, please feel free to interact with today's speaker. Please type in your questions to Zoom chat box. Kindly state your name, your organization, and affiliations. I'll read the questions after the presentation of each speakers. To start with the main event of this international seminar, I am pleased to introduce our first speaker, Professor Dr. Insinyur Suprapto, DEA, is a professor in chemical engineering based in 10 November Institute of Technology, Surabaya, ITS. He obtained his specialist degree in chemical industry and master degree in chemical engineering from ENSIC, Nancy, France, and he earned his doctoral degree in chemical engineering in INPL, Nancy, France. He has published 9 books to date and more than 20 articles in the International Journal of Chemical Engineering. He is the head of the Service Institution of the Higher Education for Region 7, East Java Province for the year of 2018 until 2022. He has received many awards and honors, including the Academic Leader Award from the Ministry of Research and Technology in 2019, and the APTISI Award as the chairman of the service institution that is highly committed in giving service to the private universities and very cooperative in doing activities with other institutions in East Java for the year of 2020. He was the head of the expert team for the intellectual property rights for the Ministry of Education in the year of 2015 until 2019. He is an expert in the intellectual property rights and patent. He has conducted more than 100 seminars and workshops on that particular topic for more than 20 years in various cities all around Indonesia. The title of his presentation is, "Can a sustainable digital ecosystem for the environment be created?" Without further ado, Professor Suprapto, the platform is yours.
Thank you. Good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning again.
Good morning, Professor Suprapto.
Good morning and greeting for all of us.
Thank you.
Chairman Professor Bonaventura Narawo, MSI, and Rector of University of Merdeka Malang, Professor Anwar Sanusi, and Honorable Keynote Speaker, Associate Professor Kazi Sohag, PhD, Professor Syed Hassan Al-Sagaf, and Professor Dr. Serkan from Kastamonu University, Turkey, and Professor Dr. Takashi Yasuno from Tokushima University, Japan, and Professor Dr. Eko Prasojo, our colleague from Indonesia, Universitas of Indonesia, and then Professor Normah Omar. Assalamualaikum, Professor Normah.
Salam.
Then Professor Hannah Buxbaum from Indiana University, and Professor Garahita Chandrarin, MSI Aka from Unmer Malang. Ladies and gentlemen, let us always express gratitude for all the blessing we have felt. The one we are most grateful for is the health, so that we can take part in this event virtually in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic situation, which still demand that we all follow health protocols. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to share our presentation. Okay, I take a role of solid catalyst in the development of renewable energy based on biofuel. I will inform firstly my introduction, and then after that I will give issue concerning biofuel, and then FAME, fatty acid methyl ester, continuing to esterification, and then shortly I will give concerning catalyst and solid heterogeneous catalyst, and after that I will give output and result in our research activity. As introduction, according to the projection of the World Energy Agency, IEA, until 2030, that world energy demand will increase by 45%, or an average increase of 1.6 per year. This is important to know. So far, most around 80% of the world's energy energy needs are supplied from fossil fuel. This is also important to know. And then global conditions show a trend where oil consumption continues to increase by around 70% by 2030. It is important to know, we know that the continuing of use of fossil fuel could impact on the depletion of the fossil fuel reserve and trigger some environmental program. So we developed certain case about non-fossil energy. The renewable energy will play an important role in maintaining and sustainability of the global energy system. Renewable energy has many advantages. We inform you that renewable energy has many advantages on environmental, also on social and economic development sustainable. As we know, some type of renewable energy, there are geothermal, wind energy, hydropower, solar energy, biomass, and biomass. So Indonesia has a huge abundance of biomass. And then I talked to this seminar concerning biofuel. I state that fossil fuel has some issues on trigger global warming and also accelerate greenhouse gas emission, GGA, and cause also air pollution, and also has some environmental issue. But concerning biofuel can mitigate climate change and reduce dependence of energy imports. Also global commitment to reduce greenhouse GGA emission. Biofuel can substitute conventional fossil fuel, as we know. And then biofuel, it will be local resource development support for small scale producer and welfare also added value. And then we know biofuel significant cost saving in the transport sector. In our region, in our government, we have impressed number 25 in 26 regarding the supply and utilization of biofuel as a variant of fuel. And also we have peraturan pemerintah, governance rules number 5 concerning national energy policy, the development of biofuel. So Indonesia has regard some useful, some utilization of biofuel. Ladies and gentlemen, biodiesel as the main producer of biofuel in Southeast Asia. There are Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, and also Malaysia. Vegetable oil, VUS, mainly CPO, crude palm oil, are the strategic resources to be developed because of its abundant availability in Indonesia, also in other Southeast Asia, Thailand, Philippines, and Malaysia. To overcome the problem of fuel oil deficit, Indonesia developed biodiesel from palm oil. Ladies and gentlemen, also we understand to develop biofuel via trans-esterification reaction. The world has developed and utilized biodiesel an important channel for reducing greenhouse gas emission, GHG, also in Malaysia and other countries, increasing energy security, as we know, and promoting technological innovation, creating job opportunities, and developing regional economies. Concerning trans-esterification reaction, we have two ways to biodiesel production from renewable resources. I have pyrolysis and trans-esterification. About pyrolysis, the process transforming compound with high molecular weights, such as vegetable oil or animal, or into smaller and simpler compound through a process we call heating. But in trans-esterification, the trans-esterification, or we name alcoholysis, is a reaction of vegetable oil in which one of TG, triglyceride, react with 3 moles of short-chain alcohol, preferably methanol, to produce 3 mole of methyl ester and 1 mole glycerol as reaction below. This is the vegetable oil, and this is methanol and methyl ester as a product, and glycerin for one other product. And how about catalyst for trans-esterification? This is important to know in our field on chemical engineering, that catalyst utilization has a role important for this reaction. Catalyst is substance that can accelerate the rate of chemical reaction. So without being changed or used up by the reaction itself. In a simple word, a catalyst is a substance that causes of a chemical reaction to happen more quickly. There are 2 types of catalysts. One is homogeneous catalyst, and the second is solid or heterogeneous catalyst. So we, in Indonesia, we develop solid or heterogeneous catalyst. The weakness of homogeneous catalyst, because homogeneous catalyst generate large amount of waste and has complicated separation process in the industry. And then homogeneous catalyst need chemical for washing or neutralization. And then with homogeneous catalyst using in the industry, produce side product. So, the advantage of solid catalyst, we can take first that solid catalyst is have environmental friendly, no waste, and then easy to separating of catalyst end product. No need chemical edit during process, and finally we have lower production cost. In our activity, 5,000 in 2010, 2021, we have research activity study of methyl ester production from palm oil with solid catalyst. So all our research activities develop solid catalyst and EMO catalyst, double promoted solid catalyst, and production from biodiesel from used cooking. And then we develop also synthesis of zinc oxide based heterogeneous parasite composite catalyst for trans-esterification reaction of Gasambi oil. So all of our research is develop solid catalyst. We inform you, ladies and gentlemen, the ultimate our result. There is interesting to know that utilization of solid catalyst increase biodiesel yield, single promoter CAO, etc., double promoter CAO, KI, etc., increase biodiesel yield. We utilize a process condition reflux methanol and using 65 degrees of Celsius. So the ultimate result is that utilization of solid catalyst will increase the biodiesel yield. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some patent about solid catalyst in Indonesia, metode pembuatan katalis padat berpromotor ganda in patent P number P00204805915, and then how metode permurnian minyak goreng bekas serta penggunanya untuk memproduksi biodiesel. There is 2 patent especially for solid catalyst, and several publication in journal, Elsevier, Springer, etc. I want to indicate here. Also IUP Publishing, and then IUP Publishing in Kuala Lumpur, and also Trans Technology Publication Limited in Switzerland as publisher. And also we take in conference proceeding in the last 5 years in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, in Shanghai, China, and then in Tunisia, and Thailand, Pattaya, and Berlin. So we have several results concerning utilization and development of solid catalyst to produce renewable energy biofuel. This is my presentation shortly, and I hope this forum can become forum for knowledge transfer between me and you all, and thank you very much for time. Give me. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Professor Suprapto, for a very insightful presentation. Now I will open the Q&A session. I will read 2 questions from the audience. Okay, I have 1 question here from Ibu Dr. Parawiyati. Can you please give direction on how higher education can prepare human resources in order to deal with the renewable resources or sustainability of environmental issues for bachelor program and also for the graduate program, Professor?
The second question, continue please.
Second questions, one more for Pak Dhani. How to implement Indonesia's commitment to the Paris Agreement, considering Indonesia's condition as the 6th largest emitter of greenhouse gases in the world and the largest contributor to forests based on emission. While we know Indonesia is the largest coal exporter, Indonesia is also the largest thermal coal exporter in the world, exporting around 400 million tons in 2020. So he asked about how to implement Indonesia's commitment in the Paris Agreement, Professor.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. The question from Parmiata nggih?
Bu Dr. Parah, iya. Parawiyati.
Thank you very much. For our student, we should step by step how to learn about the reaction. This is important to our student. So our teacher, our professor should give small step by step to our student to make know the knowledge of solid catalyst and connected to how to develop our renewable energy based on biofuel. This is to my answer to first question. And to second question, we should to give to our government how to implement especially to give our production of biofuel to eliminate or to reduce concerning Paris Convention, etc., etc. So we have to support, we have to push our government. This is my answer to the second question. Thank you very much.
You are most welcome, Professor Suprapto. If I may sum up your answer for the first question, we as a lecturer, as a professor, should introduce about the renewable energy to the students. Like you mentioned just now in your presentation, you introduced about the how to recycle the oil, right? And then the second one, we should get the government to make the industry to reduce the gas emission. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Suprapto. As a token of gratitude, please allow us to present this certificate of appreciation to you.
Thank you very much.
You are most welcome.
Merci beaucoup, and in Madura, Sakalangkong.
Sakalangkong. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Sakalangkong. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Professor Suprapto. Now I will move on to our second speaker, Professor Dr. Syed Hasan Alsagoff. Professor Dr. Syed Hasan Alsagoff is a senior Islamic microfinance specialist in Islamic Development Bank. He has designed and managed a portfolio of projects amounting to more than $780 million in countries including Indonesia, Bangladesh, Maldives, Albania, Jordan, Egypt, and Yemen, mainly in the fields of economic empowerment, Islamic microfinance, community-driven development or CDD, and integrated rural development. He also structured the SME Fund for Saudi Arabia and was seconded as a lead consultant for equity programs to Enterprise Qatar. He has been invited to speak about Islamic microfinance in various international conferences and workshops, including in Albania, Cambodia, Egypt, Indonesia, Jordan, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, Singapore, and USA. He also worked closely with entrepreneurs under the Action Community for Entrepreneurship, or ACE, a public and private sector movement which looked at ways to improve the business climate in Singapore. Syed Hasan is a chartered professional in Islamic finance and holds a master's in Islamic finance practice from the International Center for Education in Islamic Finance. He graduated with an honors degree in business management from the Singapore Management University. The title of his presentation is Economic Empowerment Using Islamic Microfinance, Prospect and Challenge on Sustainable Economic Development. Without further ado, Professor Syed Hasan Alsagoff, the platform is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Bonaventura Ngawala, Professor Anwar Sanusi, distinguished panel speakers, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Let me share my screen. So today I'll share some experiences on how Islamic microfinance or Islamic finance can be a very powerful tool in poverty alleviation, in job creation, and on a sustainable manner. Can you see my screen? Let me just put it on to...
I can see the screen, Professor.
Yep. Okay, great. Okay. All right. So as we know, poverty alleviation, job creation is a very youth unemployment is a very critical aspect of many of our member countries, especially those member countries in the IDB, in the OIC group. 13 member countries have poverty rates above 30%. Many of the people of working age are not able to gain access to jobs. And there is a rise in youth unemployment in OIC. And we are, as in many countries in the OIC, they're struggling in terms of poverty alleviation, in terms of job creation. So what is the answer to that? And whether do we, in Islamic finance, would that be a good answer? Is there an answer to that? I was invited to Kenya by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and on their invitation, I went to Kenya. It was actually about digital finance for me to learn about digital finance. But then I found out that they had conducted a research in Kenya, and they invited me to a meeting to find out a bit more about the findings of the research and to give my comments on it. So the research was to find out whether credit provided by Islamic financial institutions in the East Africa region are a more effective means of promoting poverty alleviation or SME development. And they did the methodologies, they did a desk research of Islamic finance. They interviewed 10 Islamic banks, and this was done it was done by researchers, not Islamic financial practitioners, but rather by researchers from the IBM Research Center in Kenya. And this was the findings, and I was present for that. They said that more than 80% of the financing provided by Islamic banks are through murabaha. No substantial difference between how financing is conducted from conventional, other than there's some changes in terms of legal documentation, how this is carried out. terms of terminology. We use profit rate and not interest rate and so on. And they concluded in front of me saying that Islamic finance is, at the end of the day, you know, it's not real. It's basically conventional finance clothed in a different form. So this was basically the conclusion. And now, as all the participants, I would like to ask ourselves this question: do you agree that Islamic finance is different in form, but not in substance? And in different groups, even within the communities, some practitioners even say that yes, Islamic finance is different in form and is enough. The difference in form makes a difference in some way, and hence we don't, even though it's not different in substance, it's good enough. This is what is required. Or do you say that no, Islamic finance is different in form and in substance, meaning that there is a different, unique value proposition, right? So yes, we know that conventional finance provides, you need money, I can give you a loan, you can go to a bank, you can get a loan, and you get some loan, you can get some benefit from that loan in advance, but you have to pay interest, and we know how that works. But what's the difference in Islamic finance? Is there a unique value proposition, right? Or is just merely changing the formality in terms of the legal documentation? So what was my response during that meeting? This was what I shared. And during the Q&A, you can ask this question, and whether you disagree or agree with me, yeah, we can discuss on it. So I explained that Islamic finance is measured on a spectrum. Sharia compliance is the minimum requirement of Islamic finance, but it is not the end all. You can go beyond Sharia compliance. It's not the gold standard. We can be better than Sharia compliance. Among Islamic financial institutions, Islamic microfinance institutions have been shown to be the most successful in tackling poverty alleviation by generating value to the poor, which would not be possible under the conventional methodology. And hence, I told them the methodology, the research was basically flawed because they talked to Islamic banks and did not really go to microfinance institutions where the target was, the clients were the poor. So I explained how actually Islamic microfinance institutions have been successful in comparison to Islamic banks. And I'll share some of these examples during this meeting. So you can see that whenever we, IDB, we are given an institution, we say, okay, IDB, please provide some financing to this institution. Usually it's a conventional interest-based solution, right? Even if they are from member countries, many of these institutions are conventional. So we need to move them to be Sharia compliant. So this is the journey that we bring the financial institutions. Start off is conventional MFI, they are possibly harmful. Then we transform them to be Sharia compliant, they do no harm. We prevent them from harm, and then slowly we move them towards actually empowering communities by going beyond Sharia compliance. And this is by actually conducting trading and conducting investment, doing business with their clients. This is how the institutions can do that. So Sharia compliance, I'll explain how it actually puts some measures to do no harm. And when you go beyond that, but if you just stop there, then you're limiting the benefit or the value of Islamic finance. If you go beyond Sharia compliance, you can actually help the poor, and you are actually benefiting the poor. This is the challenge of what we do, right? A lot of the communities, they talk about financial inclusion, just give insurance, savings, financial education, loan, and that's good enough. But we want to go beyond, and our objective is to help the financial institutions to put on not as a financier hat, but rather as a business hat, as a business person's hat, and hence they need to consider the poor as an economic actor. They need to help the clients to actually gain access to relevant markets, find out business opportunities, do the infrastructure, appropriate funding is just one aspect of the whole value chain, do partnerships with bigger clients, between the small and the large clients to help them prosper together and to build capacity. All this is required to help to grow a business. And this is something that we have learned over the years. So microcredit institutions, we know they provide arm's length loans, the difference, right? Conventional give a loan, they don't know how the loan is utilized. They don't know, they only know maybe you give it to a person, an agriculture farmer growing carrots, but beyond that, how he uses the money, they have no idea. They charge interest, it's a creditor-debtor relationship, right? I lend you money, you are below me because I have the money, you are borrowing money from me, and hence I am the creditor, you are the debtor. You are indebted to me because you are borrowing my money. This is the type of dynamics you have. Whereas Islamic microfinance institution practicing economic empowerment, you engage in the value chain. You conduct trade and investment. And hence, for that reason, then you can charge a markup or you do any profit sharing. And you treat your clients as business partners. So this is the substantial difference between what a conventional institution does and what economic empowerment institution practicing Islamic microfinance does. How do you do in actual terms? I'll go into a little bit about the terminology. When you say murabaha, it's a buy and sell contract, right? In this case, a murabaha, if you want to buy seeds or you want to buy fertilizer, the financial institution will buy on your behalf and you will sell it to the farmer, and they will increase the price of the fertilizer as part of the purchase agreement. Now, in this arrangement, right, if the financial institution uses murabaha, can he negotiate with the supplier to have lower prices? And then even if he add on that profit margin, which he has to do to be sustainable, then that add-on might even be less than the negotiated price that he's able to generate for it. And hence, you can actually measure the value add. In the other side of the value chain, salam, which is actually an advance purchase. So a farmer talking about palm oil, let's say the farmer buys palm oil in advance, right? After 6 months, the palm oil will then be produced, and now the financial institution will then have to sell. He's receiving thousands of liters of palm oil. How he wants to make money, he has to sell it to a buyer. And so it is on this side of the value chain, on the buyer side of the value chain. In this case, he can go and negotiate with the buyer to get a higher price for the client, and he can share some of these benefits to the client. So again, this is where the farmer, a poor small farmer, will not be able to negotiate with big suppliers of fertilizer and seeds. A farmer will not be able to negotiate with big buyers or processors of palm oil, but a microfinance institution or a bank can do that. And we have seen how successful they've been able to do that. Once they are comfortable with doing negotiating with their suppliers and the buyers, they can go beyond. Now they can actually invest with the clients, and we have seen this happening. And this is where you have the equity type instruments. Again, I'll go into musharaka, mudaraba, which are the terminology for those type of arrangement, where you actually invest in the client. So you put in money in the arrangement. There's a joint equity. You put in money, and then the client will work on the venture, and there will be a profit sharing arrangement, 50-50, 60-40, 70-30, depending on what is the agreement like. And in such an arrangement, you can lose the money as a financier. So you can't just give the money and not know how the money is used. So you need to help the client to gain access to markets, know-how, fair prices, skilled labor, technology. It's a true partnership with the client. And this is what we want to encourage. This is even riskier, but it can generate even higher returns. And I'll give an actual, calculated example of how this can be done, and compare it between a murabaha and a conventional type of arrangement. So in this case, you have a client that needs to buy $1,000 of fertilizer and seeds. He expects to sell the crop to a buyer at 1,500. He negotiates with the supplier, and gets a 30% discount. So 30% of 1,700. So you can see that in negotiated price, the client after he puts in, after MFI from 700, he adds 30% profit rate. So $1,500, which is the amount that he sells it for, minus $910. This is $590 is the profit earned by the client. The MFI earns the 30% profit here. Whereas if a conventional interest rate, the client will earn from 1,500 minus 300, he will earn only 250, and the MFI will earn still 30% of the principal loan that you have earned. So you can see that the client will be able, you can actually measure the impact, measure the difference in how the financial institution has helped the client by negotiating with the supplier to help it to generate interest. Another example in terms of equity, right? So a farmer entered into Mudarabah agreement. The profit of the venture is $1,000 over 1 year, and the arrangement is 60% profit to the MFI, 40% to the farmer. And you can actually measure what is the opportunity cost of the salary and what is the poverty line. You put at $2 a day. You can see that the profits earned by the client, you can measure 40% out of $5,000 is $2,000. Profits earned by the client is $2,000 divided by 1,200 is 1.67. You can see how much he can actually benefit over and above the opportunity cost, and how much he has actually helped the client to come out of poverty divided by $2 a day. So we can actually measure the impact again, how much the client earn, how much that the bank earn. This is the profit sharing type of arrangement that you can do. So unlike conventional microfinance, we can actually measure the impact of the intervention done by Sharia, by Islamic financial institutions, but they must go beyond Sharia compliance. If they don't go beyond Sharia compliance, then you will probably see similar impact, because they don't help the client at the end of the day. The value is at the end of the day just the credit plus some additional mitigation factors that has been put in place to prevent the client from getting any harm from the credit, from being over indebted of the loan. So this is the difference from just being Sharia compliance. You prevent it from over indebtedness, but if you go beyond Sharia compliance, you actually help the client to come out of poverty. And our goal here is to come up with business models, right? How do you do this? Whether this is some of the business models that we have learned from our financial institutions. Some of them, what they do, they have a linking business to markets model. So the clients have a lot of produce, they do salam financing, and they sell it to the buyers, which are also their larger clients in the markets. They can also develop an agriculture company, invest and start an agriculture company as an investor. They can do partnership with a lead firm. So large companies, we've had partnerships with Danone, with large firms, whereby these companies actually guarantee and help to purchase the products from smallholders, smaller businesses. And we also had some examples where the private sector started incubators. So they would have an example was, I think I would be covering this example. So I'll cover this example. So I'll explain later on. On the example relating to the lead partnership with a lead firm, we had this example of, for the example of the incubator, we have this example in Egypt where the Adel Khair. So Adel Khair is an NGO, is a private sector. They started an incubator, and instead of building many companies, many farms, what they did was they get poor women to join the farms. They taught this woman. This woman received financing from IDB to purchase 5-6 cows. over the period of 9 months, these women are being trained how to fatten the cows by Adil Khair. And Adil Khair will then, after 9 months, the cow will be fattened and they will sell, because they have access to markets. They will sell the cows to their buyers. And after 9 months, the share of the profits will be given to the woman, and the woman will exit from the incubator, and another set of women will join the incubator. When the women graduate from the incubator, they will receive financing, they will start a small business near their home, and they have the skills, they can do small business of fattening the cow, and they can still sell the cow to the Adil Khair if they do not find any alternate buyer. So this is the arrangement. We had a partnership between Adil Khair, which is had expertise in fattening the cows. We had the young woman. This is a picture of the young woman who joined who are from a very poor region in the rural areas. And also Ms. Mida, which is our executing agency, which provided the financing. So this is a tripartite arrangement where Ms. Mida provided the funds, Adil Khair provided the financial, the expertise, and the woman provided the labor to make this business a success. And we have had now, so far, we had like 6-7 rounds of that has happened over the years, and they've expanded the financing and to more and more women over time. The second example I'll share is the Hebel Khair. Here again, the example with partnership with lead firm, where in this case the lead firm is Delis Danone. So here in this case, Delis Danone provided the training to the poor farmers who had cattle, but they want to make sure that they produce the right milk, the high quality milk. The Zaytuna Tamkin provided the financing to the farmers. The farmers will then sell the milk in collection centers, which will then be purchased by Delis Danone, and Delis Danone would pay Zaytuna Tamkin, and Zaytuna Tamkin would pay the remaining of the profits to the farmers. So the farmers know whenever they produce, there is a buyer. There is a buyer, and at the same time, they also obtain the training by Delis Danone to ensure that the quality of the milk is of high standard. So this is the type of innovation that we are doing in IDB. And alhamdulillah, we've received several awards. The Ethical Finance Innovation Challenge Awards we received in 2014 for IRADA, and a different project which I had no time to share with you. Also, Center of Excellence in Islamic Microfinance for Albania, Best Agricultural Rural Finance Product, and also Zaytuna Tamkin, the example that I showed you just now, also won an award. And the Adil Khair project was lauded last year in the Paris Peace Forum, having been selected among 850 applicants to be showcased. How do we do this? Well, we have published recently, about 2 months ago, 3 toolkits. One is the Economic Empowerment Design Toolkit. How do you design a project, an economic empowerment project? This is one toolkit. We go through the whole process of doing value chain assessment, feasibility study, and so on. We also have the second toolkit is on monitoring and evaluation. How do you measure the impact? I gave you some examples, but we went through very detailed in this particular toolkit how to do the different indicators, from financial indicators, social indicators, and economic empowerment impact indicators. The third toolkit is on the Islamic Financial Product Implementation Toolkit. So how do you do murabaha? How do you do salam? How do you do musharaka, ijara, musharaka mutanakisa? All these interesting terms, they are all there explained in a very simplified way with different templates of how to put it in, legal templates, accounting templates, Sharia compliant checklists. All of them is there in those toolkits. So you can download them freely from our website, and I gave the links below. So thank you so much. That's all. And I look forward to any discussion or Q&A. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Professor Syed Hasan Alsagoff, for the very insightful presentation. Okay, now I will move on to the Q&A session. We receive a lot of questions actually. It's a very interesting topic about the Islamic microfinance. Let me read the questions. Okay, the first one is from Dr. Sukardi. Mr. Syed, what is the most important factors to determine the success to provide money for the poor? Number two, how your bank collaborate with the traditional or local association axis, including the poor woman, to obtain return? The Poor Traditional Women Association, I think, yeah, he was asking about that, yeah, to obtain the return.
Sorry, so the first question is on what is the main
factors, yes, to
main
provide
factors
money for the poor.
To provide money for the poor, especially when it comes to poor traditional women associations.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. Second question.
Oh, all right. Then I'll read the second questions. According to you, what are the prospects for Indonesia with Islamic microfinance, while Indonesia is facing an economic condition that tends to be strong in oligarchy?
Okay. All right. No, thank you. Those are great questions. So the first question is a very important question relating to what are the factors. Now, in the conventional world, when we talk about providing credit, the notion is that if you give a poor person credit, I've heard this many times, just give them credit, let them do what they do, they will survive. These people are survivors and all that. And I don't believe in this. It's too simplistic, right? And I think time and evidence has shown this is not the case. When I was in the SME Development Agency, Spring Singapore, we never believed that providing money to people or small businesses and businesses will suddenly thrive. It's one factor, but you have to also help them in providing capacity building, providing technology, providing good practices. All these are very important. So if we expect this, and this is the understanding in the SME space, right? We need to help our SMEs to grow. But we don't have the same understanding for a really poor person, which face even higher barriers to overcome in terms of their ability to negotiate with people, their ability to gain access to markets. They have so much more difficulty compared to SMEs who have a lot more access and partners with people who are well networked and so on. So we need to help people like the poor associations of women, group them up. It's difficult to do this if it is individual, right? Because you have one person, you want to provide that one person training, you want to provide that one person, help them to gain access to market. It's difficult. So our approach has always been to group them into associations. Now, as a group, how can we help this group prosper by having a business? By having a business and help that business to give it the best chance of success by not just providing the financing, but also making sure they get cheaper access to suppliers by doing negotiation, by helping them to get better buyers so that when they sell, they get better prices. And in this way, then we can really help someone who's poor to earn more money and to come out of poverty. So this is basically this is the formula. It's simple, it's easy to understand, but it's not so difficult. It's not so easy to implement, and you need a lot of people to work together to help and partner in this effort. And I understand that Indonesia has done a lot of good work in this, right? You have the BMTs, Baitul Mal Tamils. You have the associations where you have one product, one village, one product type of concept, one kelurahan, one product, or sometimes they call it what is this called? One school, not madrasa. They call it, yeah, one product. So they have one area where they have a particular product and they develop a business around that product. And this is actually something that we did in the ICDD, Integrated Community Driven Development Project. And this is where we worked with the government of Indonesia. We developed 10 business development centers. We had microfinance institutions at the Kelurahan level. And then we decided that after the next phase, we developed business development centers to help purchase from these Kelurahans to sell them to the regional governments, to sell them to Jakarta, to sell them among themselves. And this is what is happening. So this, alhamdulillah, has taken place, and it's growing from 10. We hope to continue to replicate that further. So the prospects, coming to the second question, the prospects of Islamic microfinance in Indonesia is very strong, actually. You have the foundations, you have the understanding of Islamic finance, you have the grassroots efforts to do this. Now, what you need to do is to help to put in perhaps technology platforms, put in some platforms where you help these poor people to gain access to markets. Now everyone is buying online. How can you get someone to put, we are now thinking, how can you get someone to actually open a shop on Bukalapak or any other platforms that will help the client, the poor person, to be able to sell on that platform? How do you manage all these logistics? So these are some of the ideas you need to come up together, you know, as partners, and to look at ways of how we can support these small businesses, get them, aggregate them, and support them to grow.
All right. Thank you very much, Professor Syed Hasan Alsagoff. So actually, for the community, we need to help them, to group them together. Like you were saying, we need to go beyond the Sharia compliance so we can engage in the value chain. That's how to help them.
Exactly.
And we have one more comment from Professor Norma. She said, I can see that the facilitation role, example, linking the borrowers to the whole supply chain of MFI is very crucial to the success of Islamic microfinance. However, not many MFIs are doing that. Some are just lender, as in other financial institutions. Your comment, please.
No, absolutely. This is our main challenge. Some MFIs are just too comfortable playing the role of a lender, and they don't want to go beyond that. And you know, it's their right to decide. And our challenge at IDB is to convince them, if you want our financing, you have to follow and you have to go beyond this. But it's not easy. I can tell you that it's not easy. What we can have seen, and from the data that we have seen, is that if a financial, more and more people, it's a demonstration effect. If we have a financial institution that does this, you can see that, number one, they start to be more competitive. So if I need money to go and buy seeds, I can either go and get a loan from a conventional or MFI, Sharia compliant MFI, for $1,000, or I can go and buy seeds from a person doing value chain financing and negotiate for $700. So ultimately, I know, you know, go with the one that's selling 700. They will be more competitive. This is number one benefit. If they engage in the value chain, they will be more competitive in the market. The second benefit is we realize that the financial institutions are now more aware of the risks of the financing they're providing. Previously, they would just, you know, give the money, $1,000. Okay, I don't know what you're going to do with the $1,000. I'm going to ask for your car, your land, your house as collateral. And then at the same time, I'm going to ask for your mother's guarantee, your father's guarantee, all sorts of things to ensure that you pay me back. because I don't know what you're going to do with the $1,000, right? But if they know what they're going to do with the $1,000, they are more confident. And we've seen this. They start to relax the collateral requirements. And when they relax the collateral requirements, they have more and more people have the ability to gain, so the market size grows. So these are two benefits that we see. But of course, it takes some challenge to explain this to a financial institution. Sometimes they're still very much ingrained. This banker's mentality is very ingrained. No, I can't do this. There are many. So yes, these are some of the challenges, but you must also explain what are the benefits. If you do this properly, you can really be more competitive and expand the market size.
So there is challenges, but also actually there is benefits as well.
Absolutely.
Actually, it's a very interesting topic, Professor Syed Hasan Alsagoff. We received many questions, but because of the time limit, we cannot take any more questions. I wish you can be with us for another session for the guest lecture. It is very good for our university. A lot of the participants would like to ask you more about this concept.
My pleasure.
Yes, but for today, thank you very much. A very insightful presentation. I learned a lot from you. I learned a new concept that I just heard, like murabaha and salam practice, musyarakah, mudarabah, or joint practice. So I would like to learn more. I believe everyone also would like to learn more. So now, as a token of a gratitude, please allow us to present this certificate of appreciation to you, Professor.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You are most welcome. Thank you again, Professor Syed Hasan Alsagoff. Now I will continue with our third speaker, Professor Dr. Norma Omar from UiTM Malaysia. Professor Dr. Norma Omar is a member of two globally renowned professionally accountancy bodies, Certified Practicing Accountants, CPA Australia, and Certified Management Accountants, CMA Australia. She is the former director of the Accounting Research Institute, ARI, a global higher institution center of excellence, HICOE, which is recognized and funded by the Ministry of Higher Education, Malaysia. In recognition of her expertise, she has been funded by several international agencies such as the Japanese Society for the Promotion of Science, the Turkish government Mevlana program, and Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, DFAT, to participate in international collaborative research projects. Prof. Norma has been invited to give keynote addresses at many international conferences in countries such as Australia, Japan, Taiwan, China, Indonesia, USA, Philippines, India, Bangladesh, Qatar, Thailand, New Zealand, Tunisia, UAE, South Africa, and Singapore. As an academic, she has written a lot of articles in reputable international journals. She has also authored several books on corporate governance, corporate integrity, and financial criminology. She has been appointed as a visiting scholar or professor at several universities such as University of Merdeka Malang, Indonesia, Institute of Public Enterprise, India, University of Pretoria, South Africa, University of Bolton, UK, and the University of Tasmania, Australia. Professor Norma is currently the Deputy Chairman and Founding Committee member of the Asia Pacific Management Accounting Association, APMAA, which is based in Japan. In 2019, she was awarded with the prestigious GIFA Lifetime Achievement Award for 2 consecutive years. In 2018 and 2019, Prof. Norma received the Womani Award by Cambridge IFA UK and named the top 10 most influential women in Islamic business and finance. The title of her presentation is Social Innovation and the Governance of Non-Profit Organization. Without further ado, Professor Norma Omar, the platform is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. I feel very honored to be able to join this conference today, despite the fact that it is online. Yeah, maybe when the pandemic is over, then I wish to go and visit University Merdeka Malang again. Yeah, so I think it is such an honor. Okay, I'm going to talk about social innovation and the governance of non-profit organization. Yeah, in fact, I do a lot of research on non-profit organization and linking such organization, if they are not careful, they are not being governed carefully, linking them to some form of financial criminology, and worse, some are also involved in money laundering. Yeah, it is a bit off. Yeah, I know. Then when we talk about non-profit organization, is always something nice, is always something kind. But I think we also must make sure that we take care of this organization so that it will produce the outcome that is intended. Yeah. So I was looking at social innovation, which is actually the theme of this conference. Yeah. In fact, it is the process of developing, according to Stanford University, is the process of developing and deploying innovative and effective solutions to challenging both social and environmental issues. Yeah. So in fact, some of the things that has been mentioned, is actually energy. Yeah, these are some of the world's most pressing problems: energy, water, education, health, and poverty. Yeah. So based on that, I also looked at a book written by Haruo Takeda from Hitachi on a book titled SDG and the Social Innovation, where he mentioned that actually what makes this social innovation different is because of the market in innovation, and using very aggressively disruptive technologies, such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and whatever that they do. So these are some of the disruptive technologies. In fact, when we look at some of these technologies today, if let's say, for example, there is no internet, I think suddenly we find that we can be so restless that we are not able to participate in this disruptive technology. Yeah, so you can see these are some of the things. Yeah, with the aim is being very noble. Yeah. Trying to get money, fundraising to help the poor, for example, to help alleviate poverty in some countries or in some villages. The aim is very noble. So crowdfunding through all these technologies are very common. So basically people try to get funding through this social media and Facebook. So these are all online donation campaigns that you can see quite easily everywhere. And then you also see a lot of social work being shared, through social media like Facebook. I think you can see like in Facebook or in Instagram, they will send pictures and photos of activities they do on social work. Which is actually very good, and I think good documentation. But I think again, we should focus on how to govern this so that at the end of the day, we are able to achieve the intended purpose of doing all this social work. So who are actually the champions of this social innovation? So basically, previously, traditionally, two sectors, which is actually the public sector, the government, and the private sector. But of late, there is a third sector. In fact, some countries have recognized this third sector. Yeah. So who are actually this third sector? In fact, now the third sector is so huge, yeah, that in some countries it is bigger than the public and the private sector. So these are some examples, yeah, of the non-profit organization. It could be religion related, it could be NGOs, it could be trade union, it could be professional organization, yeah, it could be cooperative, mutual trust, it could be public society, benefit, charitable organization, environmentalist, art, culture, yeah, these are. So you can see the non-profit organizations are growing every day. Yeah, even bigger. One day it can be bigger. In fact, I think an economic statistic in the UK had predicted that maybe one day the non-profit organization or the third sector is huge, that it could provide a better contribution to the economy and the country's GDP. Yeah, maybe they will be able to provide job because even things like social enterprises. Yeah, the aim is actually to provide job and to self-finance the social work and all this. Yeah. So who are these non-profit organizations? As I mentioned, yeah, they are there. They are established for the beneficial purpose, the purposes, and assume their employees, especially senior management, to share the organization philanthropic mission. So normally, I think when we form a non-profit organization, we have a very good intention, and therefore, in our mind, people who are working with us, they are also the same. Yeah, but then again, I think we have to remember we are only humans. If you talk about financial crime has no religion, has no country, has no race, has no gender. Yeah, so we need to be very mindful of these people. I'm not trying to undermine the purpose of non-profit organization, but I think it is very crucial as a philanthropy, for example, that we should also be aware of the need to have proper governance of this non-profit organization. Okay, therefore, because of that, yeah, that trust, yeah, so non-profit organizations tend to be more trusting of their employees and therefore have less stringent financial control for their organization, yeah, in comparison to profit counterparts. So you can see if it is a profit organization, everything is to be documented and to be accounted for. But in the cases of non-profit organization, obviously are more lax. Yeah, and for that reason, non-profit embezzlement cases, yeah, and other form of employee fraud occur at a much alarming rate, especially now with the pandemic. Yeah, even the collection of the COVID-19 money has been embezzled by some of these organizations. Yeah? So typically, this is a non-profit organization chart. So you have a board of directors. Yeah, this is a proper one, and not to mention there are smaller ones that do not have board of directors. But typically, in a medium to big organization, so they will have a board of directors, and then the executive director and some staff members, and the rest of the people are volunteers. So the question is actually, how do we put the governance element in this so that everyone is accountable and again, the intended purpose of the setting up of this non-profit organization are met with accountability and transparency. Yeah. There are some best, some models. Yeah, I found a few. I know that Australian Institute of Company Directors, they have produced a model. They have published this model, and if let's say companies people want to adopt, I think they can just do that. Charity Commission for England and Wales. Even in Singapore, they even have a charity portal that people can make a rest with. So therefore, I think globally or even in this region, if we are going to have this non-profit organization running this social innovation, I think it is very crucial that we find the best model for these non-profit. Yeah? What is actually the concept of social governance? Yeah? So that is a concept. I think in your team, you also touch on social governance. Yeah? So, so in here, I was looking at this concept of social governance. There are three things, yeah. Like number one, social governance is to find ways to optimize the manner in which society works. Yeah, so the aim is actually how to optimize society values through these champions of social innovation. And normally social governance is premised on the guiding principle that it can be measured and managed. Yeah? And then social governance has dual focus. Number one is to achieve the organization's social mission, and number two, to ensure that the organization is viable. So free from crime, free from all these unethical activities. That is a very important thing. So I was looking at this book, on social governance 101. Okay, you can get this from this link, constantview.com. And right at the introductory remark, I read to you here, quote, the social media landscape, because social innovation, we use a lot of disruptive technology. So it says the social media landscape is a deep ocean of wondrous opportunities for businesses. But there are plenty of sharks in those waters. Yeah, so for every opportunity to innovate and excel in social media, there's the opportunity to drown as well. So you can see when the concept of social media, social governance was introduced, there is what we call it, there is a wait and see kind of situation. Yeah, there is opportunity, but there's also risk involved. Yeah, therefore, I think we need to mitigate this risk so that the opportunities is optimized. I think that's what we are saying under social governance. Yeah. So there are, of course, a lot of published non-profit and charity scandals. Yeah, I just mentioned to you a few. In fact, you can just Google and find the detail of it. But I'm not aiming to tell the story about this scandal. But let's say, for example, in Canada, we have WP Charity and MADD Canada. But in short, you can see what the kind of crime involved was the abuse of collection. When they receive donation, either through online or through a proper banking, there is an abuse of collection. So instead of using it for the purpose intended, it was being abused and used for personal purposes. And in the US, the famous one is actually American Red Cross and also World Vision. In the UK, Oxfam. Oxfam is famous for, like, for example, if you have old clothes but nice one, you can donate to Oxfam, and Oxfam will actually sell to the public very cheaply. When I was a PhD student in the UK, this was actually my favorite place, like that, to buy dresses for the children, because they are still good. But again, because of the good deeds that people are donating, some people see opportunity, and so again, funny happen. And save the children. Even the name of the charity is Save the Children. Like maybe donation obtained who were also being abused. And in Australia, Red Cross, Red Cross actually have a lot of respect for Red Cross, because everyone is actually involved with charity here. In India, we have this called charity childcare, and even in my own country, currently one of our politicians is still undergoing court proceedings where a non-profit organization was established, but according to what was mentioned in the court proceeding, some gossip of whatever that collected that they made was the credit card of basically. So you can see these are all non-profit organizations, very good intention. However, they can be abused. That's why I think government is very, very interesting here. Yeah, according to the Association of Certified Fraud Examiner, which is based in the US, these are the three common non-profit fraud reported. Yeah, asset misappropriation, where they use the non-profit cash or credit card for personal items, yeah, because of lack of governance or maybe very flexible government. Corruption can include giving or accepting bribes in inappropriation use under the table transaction or even financial statement fraud. Yeah, so I think these are some examples. Okay, therefore, there are, according to ACFP 2020 again, yeah, normally it takes such a long time to detect this fraud. Yeah, it could be between 12 to 24 months. And by the time it is detected, a lot of the evidences are gone. And at the end of the day, they are not being able to be prosecuted and things like that. Yeah. And SCFP also found that most non-profit organizations do not adhere to these things. Yeah, like in profit organization, this is almost automatic. Yeah, like surprise audit, fraud risk assessment, management review, and maintaining an internal audit function. So these things, according to ACSP, are not happening in most non-profit organizations. Yes, top 5 best practices in non-profit organization. Yeah, so this is again a desktop review. Yeah, is for non-profit organization to align strategies, goal, and capacity, to build the board effectively, and choose the board, define how the board will work, because they are also going to do the oversight function, and also promote accountability and engagement of the non-profit organization, so that we are clear of why the non-profit organization was established in the first place, and we remain accountable and responsible for our activities. In fact, in the research area that I do, on money laundering, yeah, there is this agency called FATF, Financial Action Task Force, yeah, which is actually a non-government, which is an intergovernmental organization that design and promote policies and standards to combat financial crime. Yeah, and many countries in this region are members of it. In fact, FATF has produced a standard, they call it 40 recommendation, and very specifically, one of the standards, which is actually recommendation number 8, is combating the abuse of non-profit organizations. Yeah. So, so this is actually, you can just Google this. Yeah, global international standard on anti-money laundering. So they have altogether 40 recommendations which member countries will use. Yeah, in fact, they do mutual evaluation yearly and site visit every 5 years. So in fact, you can see recommendation number 8 is specifically on non-profit organizations. But I do not have the intention to really go in detail about this here. But what I'm trying to highlight here, there is such thing. There are standards. Yeah, how can we mitigate crime that are used globally, that can be adopted by non-profit organizations. Yeah. So in the end, I do not have solution for you, but more question for us to ponder. There's certainly a need to revisit NPO governance, yeah, and there are a lot of agencies and organizations that that are interested in this. Yeah, I'm using some of these things like Audible.com. Yeah, these non-profit models. Yeah, and then also Harvard Law School. They even have forum on corporate governance of non-profit organization. And again, even big four companies are also into it. Yeah. So in a nutshell, what I like to conclude is, as much as we are promoting social innovation, as much as we are also trying to promote social governance, I think we must continue to strengthen the governance so that public, private, and the third sector, particularly in the non-profit organization, are always governed so that we are able to achieve the intended purpose, which is very noble. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Norma Omar, for a very insightful presentation. Now I will open the Q&A session. I'll read 2 questions from the audience. The first question is from Dr. Sukardi. Prof. Norma, the recent governance is arrived at VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and step. How non-profit organization cope in this puzzle era? Do you want to answer the first question, or you want me to read the next question?
Yeah, you can read. Yeah, you can.
Yes, Prof. Norma?
Yeah, you can read all, and I will address.
All right. I'll read it again. The first question is, the recent governance is arrived at VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and step. How in this puzzle era? Then another question is from Dr. Diana Zuhro. Please allow me to ask question. In your opinion, how to minimize the potential for fraud in a non-profit organization? Are accounting standards needed for non-profit organization?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, most welcome.
I'm aware of this WUCA. Which is, of course, I think we are talking the situation now is this. It is volatile. It is uncertain. A lot of complexity and uncertainty. And again, in the disruptive technology era, there are a lot of opportunity to use this digital technology to detect fraud. Even for non-financial organization. So in fact, I think very basic. I have seen one legal requirement of a non-profit organization that says, okay, I think it is very important to be clear on a few things, like, for example, where are the sources of funding coming from? So therefore, the non-profit organization must list down who are the funders, who provide the funding, and then how are you using this funding for? What are you using the fund for? And then, because of course some funders do not want their name to be they do not want their name to be acknowledged, so maybe they just put Hamba Allah. But it is okay for them to put there, but then for you as an organization, for a non-profit organization, you must know who this Hamba Allah is. So that in the event of what we call it, of any court proceeding, you know exactly who this person is. So in fact, under BUCA, you can use technology. You can use technology very aggressively to mitigate fraud. So in fact, the second question, do we need to have a standard? Well, actually, we can have a lot of standards. I know that even for profit organizations, we already have an auditing standard. For example, ISA 240 is for auditors very specifically to use in auditing financial statements. So in case there is fraud, there are some standards requirements. But I think in fact ISA 240 has been the one that has not been complied for complied for by many auditors, because they say, oh, our job is actually our basic job is more looking at the what we call it, the financial statement, and whether rather than looking at fraud. So I think having another standard may not help. Yeah, I think existing standard is okay. In fact, you can even use financial action task force standard. They are already there. What is more important is actually how do you enforce? Yeah, meaning simple things like to be transparent and accountable. That we tell our stakeholders where our funding comes from, who are the funding, and how this funding are used for. I think these are very simple. Yeah? And so that when it is being accounted for, it is much easier to manage the non-profit organization. Because I think if you wait until fraud happen, then the likelihood of bringing these people to court and to prosecute them is very, very low because of the
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Norma. Yeah, just now you mentioned how to minimize fraud is actually by using technology. They need, I mean, the financing, the charity program need to have the name who giving the fund. They cannot just put hamba Allah. You need to know who is the one who gives the fund, right? Because as Muslim people, they tend not to write their name when they are giving charity, because they will just put hamba Allah. But as they need to put in the report as their own report, so to the fraud from happening. Okay, and I have another question, Professor Norma, from Dr. Praptining Sukawati. How to put in place good and correct public policy so that they can improve the economy and better welfare on the community in the position of an archipelagic and multicultural country. Thank you. Correct public policy.
Yeah. In fact, as I mentioned, non-profit organization, I think as the name non-profit organization, I think we should leave it there. We do not want it to be very tight, like in the private sector or in the government, where a lot of policies, a lot of rules, a lot of regulation. We want it to be flexible, but I think what we want to emphasize is accountability. That is very important. In fact, if we do it well, non-profit organization should be able to provide jobs, because remember, you have the board of directors, you have the executive, but you also have staff, staff, and of course, to hire the staff, they need funding, and so some of the funding you can get it from donation. There are, especially people in Asia, I think we despite the fact that we are poor, but people are they believe in the after that. One of the things that we brought, that you will bring to your grave is the sedekah that you give. So based on that, I think people are very generous and giving. So therefore, what is very important is actually the non-profit organization. When I talk about technology, I'm not talking about what we call it very sophisticated technology, but at least you have it use the system to capture these things, like basic things like who are the funders, where the funders come from. You need to also I think it is also very crucial that you do due diligence to these funders, because there are cases where funders abuse the non-profit organization status for terrorism financing and also money laundering. Especially in this region. I think the standard on non-profit organization, which is actually recommendation number 8, was to mitigate terrorism financing. So I think what we need to do, I think if we have a system to capture all this, I think there's nothing to worry. I'm not really trying to put stringent policies and stringent rule on non-profit organization because we want the non-profit organization industry or the sector to flourish so that they can provide jobs, they can provide contribute to the economy. Yeah. Imagine non-profit organizations are doing what Professor Syed Hasan Al-Sadgor was proposing just now. Yeah, they are helping these poor people. They are looking at new markets. You just imagine they are not only helping these poor people, but they are also creating jobs. They are also helping the economy people. Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Norma. So we need to create the system to prevent the financial crime from the non-profit organization. Thank you very much once again for the very insightful presentation. As a token of gratitude, please allow us to present this certificate of appreciation to you. Thank you. Thank you again, Prof. Norma Omar. Now I will continue with our fourth speaker, Professor Dr. Takashi Yasuno. Professor Dr. Takashi Yasuno is a professor based in the Department of Electrical and Electronic Engineering at the University of Tokushima, Japan. He earned his bachelor degree, master degree, and doctoral degree from the University of Tokushima, Japan. He has been the supervisor of multiple degrees and theses. The field of his study is control engineering with various research interests include intelligent control of autonomous mobile robots, output prediction of wind power generation system, control engineering of rehabilitation system, and agriculture support system. He has great expertise in the field of electronic engineering and has conducted research in it for more than 25 years. He has published 2 books, 60 research articles in the reputable scientific journals, and 23 academic letters. He has also written and presented his research in more than 300 international and domestic seminars and conferences. He has received many awards and honors, which include Best Paper Award for 2020 IEEE International Conference on Power and Energy and IEEE Indonesia Section Best Paper Award in Athens International Electronic Symposium in 2016. The title of his presentation is Robotic System and Artificial Intelligence and its Application. Without further ado, Professor Takashi Yasuno, the platform is yours.
Thank you for your introduction. I'm Takashi Yasuno from Tokushima University, Japan. I would like to thank you so much for giving me a good opportunity. The University of Merdeka Malang has my graduate students, Dr. Dubi Arman Prasetya and Dr. Angraniti Puspitasari, and Rahman Arifdin joined our laboratory as a doctoral student from October this year. So I'm very happy to join this conference. Okay, so wait a moment, please. So I'll share my presentation slide.
See the slide, Professor. Thank you.
Okay, can you see my slide? Okay, or not?
I can see the slide. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So today I would like to talk about the robotic system and artificial intelligence and its application. This is a stuffed robot of the Tokushima University's mascot character, Tokpon, which was developed in my laboratories. Okay, this is contents of my talk today. First, I will give a short introduction, goal of our laboratory and 5 research teams. After that, I would like to introduce 2 research topics of intelligent control application for robots. The first one It's a cooperative conveyance control for multiple mobile robot system. Second is the safe driving support system for electric wheelchair. Goal of our laboratory is the engineering application of intelligent processing technique for various information. In other words, our goal to implement the intelligent processing technique for various things in the world. That is, ultimate goal is to realize super smart society. In order to achieve our goal, our laboratory has 5 research teams: renewable energy team, motion control team, agriculture support team, field robot team, and care and welfare research team. The main research target of each team as follows. Today, I will introduce the research topics of 2 teams, field robot team and care and welfare team. And here, I will briefly introduce the research of the remaining 3 research teams. First, let me introduce the motion control team. This is a biped robot, which mainly consists of 2 closed ring legs with spring and damper, upper body, and inertial arm. This inertial arm controls the posture of the robot body while the robot hopping. Mathematical model of the hopping robot has been implemented and simulated the various motions like this using the matter of Simulink. In this case, maybe student uses the SimScale multibody. SimScale multibody is a library on the matter of Simulink. The robot can move on the steps and move on the flat plane like this. And the next, this is a robot manipulator with biarticular muscle model. Biarticular muscle is very, very unique actuator model. Biarticular muscle model can drive 2 joints at the same time. So like this, there are 2 joints, 1 and 2. Okay. Therefore, it is possible to soft motion control. This is a Japanese character, kanji. Do you know kanji? This character, so-called A. This character includes various writing techniques. Next, I will introduce agriculture support robots. This is a path planning simulation of the pesticide spraying robot in a greenhouse to exploring the suitable pathway. Okay, and after that, this is a prototype of the pesticide spraying robot in the greenhouse, which is controlled autonomously. And this robot can avoid the obstacle autonomously and follows the reference path based on this path planning algorithm. Maybe in this case, we use Dijkstra method as a path planning algorithm. And next, this movie shows a tomato harvesting robot. The vertical axis robot arm. This robot arm has a depth camera to measure the distance from robot to tomato and can capture the image. The image processing calculates the tomato position. Okay, and finally, this movie shows a human following robot to convey the cultivated tomatoes like this. But in this case, this robot doesn't have the image camera, only use the laser rangefinder. The laser rangefinder to detect the human legs. Okay. Lastly, I would like to introduce the renewable energy team. This team is developing a prediction model of solar radiation, wind speed, and wind direction using artificial intelligence. So Dr. Angranidip Suptasari joined this research group. This is an example. Of predicting cloud movement from weather satellite images. Now let's move to the first topics. I will introduce the first topics: cooperative conveyance control for multiple mobile robot system. This research aims to realize the evolving intelligent robots. Suddenly, please think about this mission for a moment. This is mission. There is a baggage in front of you. The baggage is too heavy to carry along. But you must carry the baggage to the destination along a predetermined path. How do you carry the baggage? However, you have several friends who have the same mission. This mission is a very interesting mission, but this mission contains many difficult problems. For example, how many friends, male or female, how many baggage, how many size, what kind of shape of the baggage, how many weights of the baggage, about the path, what kind of path, reference path, there is obstacle on the reference path or not. As other information, do you know self position, goal position, baggage position, and so on? These information are known or uncertain. This mission is a very, very difficult and very high level mission. So how can we complete the mission by robots? We need to consider what the difference between the humans and robots. It is easy for human, but difficult for robots. Human can easily do it because intelligent. This mission can only be achieved by intelligent. As an approach to solving this problem, we propose the following approach. First, we focus on two robots, which is the smallest units of swarm. And the cooperative behavior of two robots is acquired by machine learning. Machine learning based on the artificial intelligence. Therefore, algorithm becomes simple and compact. It is easy to implement the small robot system. Then all robots share the cooperative control algorithm of the two robots. By doing it, the cooperative relationship is indirectly formed without depending on the number of robots. In order to realize this approach, we focus on complex varied neural networks. this network is very, very unique and has so many unique features. We use the complex value neural network for the robot control like this. The inputs are the position vector of the target and the goal. Position vectors of the robot and target, and the position vector between two near robots. And the output is a speed vector of each robot. All parameters represented by the complex number. This is the unique point. The complex number is very convenient to represent 2D information. For example, in position vector is a 2D information, and the speed vector is a 2D information. So this complex value neural network is very, very convenient to solve the some robot system problem. And there are two ways to train the complex value neural networks: supervised learning and unsupervised learning. But in this problem, it is impossible to prepare the teaching data in advance. So we use a genetic algorithm as an unsupervised learning method. Okay, weights of neural network represent the gene sequence. In this case, we set the gene length 122. So in order to confirm the validity of the proposed control algorithm, so we fabricate this experimental setup. So a video camera installed on the ceiling measures the position of each robot and target. Based on this information, position information, each robot calculates its speed vector. The diameter of the prototype robot is 7 centimeters. So now I have the fabricated robot. Maybe I remember Dr. Arman fabricated this small robot on my hand. Can you see? Okay.
Thank you, Sensei. Thank you. Thank you.
So please look at the video. So 6 robots are carrying a cylindrical target along the S-shaped path. This formation has been run by the robot by using the complex value neural networks. Very, very good performance. Next, we change the target shape. So change the cylindrical to the rectangular shape. The robot is still able to carry the target in the same way. The cooperative conveyance control algorithm obtained by running has capacity to adapt for environmental changes. Next, one of the robots break down and stop in the middle of conveyance process. The remaining 5 robots successfully carry the target by adjusting their formation. This result is very interesting. We can see that the system is more adaptive even when the number of robots change. Oh, let's move to the second topics. Let me introduce the second topics, and this is a safe driving support system for electric wheelchair. This research aims to realize a human-friendly control system. Let's consider the feature of human life. Since human life is closely related to place and action, mobility is important to maintain quality of life. Quality of life very important to care and welfare. As one of the tools of support to support mobility, the needs for electric wheelchair is increasing in Japan. On the other hand, accidents related to electric wheelchair are also increasing, with a percentage of accident caused by mistake operation as 25%. We focus on the research, so therefore, to avoid these accidents by mistake operation, we focus on the research of safe driving support system. And this is a prototype electric wheelchair, which is developed by the lab student. As an environmental recognition system, it is equipped with laser rangefinder. Mistake. So this part located in the laser rangefinder in front of the electric wheelchair, and the ultrasonic sensor in the rear and both sides. Okay. And this is a specification of each sensor, ultrasonic sensor and laser rangefinder. So operator manipulates the joystick and drive the two independently wheels. Okay, size like this. Okay. So this is our proposed safety driving support system. So operator manipulate a joystick to drive the electric wheelchair. Joystick outputs the X and Y information. Okay. And next step, this part calculates the speed reference, V difference, by using the XY information of the joystick. And next step, this part calculate over the TTC. TTC means time to collision. Time to collision. Oh, okay. This part calculates the time to collision by using the calculated speed reference and measure the distance from electric wheelchair to obstacle surrounding the electric wheelchair by using the laser rangefinder and the ultrasonic sensor. And finally, fuzzy reasoning. This part is an intelligent part. Fuzzy reasoning has so many fuzzy rules, and this part calculates the danger degree alpha. This index is very, very important to control the safety the electric wheelchair. And fuzzy reasoning uses as an input data steering angle theta reference and a TTC time to collision data. Okay. After that, so final right and left side wheel speed reference calculated by this equation. This area includes a danger degree. So this is a very important point. Okay. So in order to confirm the usefulness of the proposed safe driving support system, several experiments was conducted. In this case, the subject is not familiar with manipulating an electric wheelchair. She is a beginner. So let's play. Oh. Okay. So right side video without system and the left side video with system. So you can see that the driving trajectory is not smooth without system. In the case of without system. On the other hand, with system, trajectory of the electric wheelchair smoothly. Okay. And next, Next, we will show the case of go back. Go back motion is very difficult for the beginner. So, please, okay. It is quite difficult to manipulate the electric wheelchair when the safe driving support system is not implemented left side. Sorry. And it's quite difficult to check the driving environment behind. On the other hand, when the safe driving support system is installed, you can see that electric wheelchair is running smoothly. Even beginner can see this difference in operation. Okay, finally, let me summarize my talk. First, I introduced the goal of my laboratories and our 5 research teams. Then, as the example of the application of intelligent control to robots, and I introduced the cooperative conveyance control system for Swarm robot and the safe driving support system for electric wheelchair. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you for the eye-opening presentation, Professor Takashi Yasuno. Now I'll open the Q&A session. I'll read 2 questions from the audience. The first question is from Dr. Sukardi. Professor Takashi, mostly university research in Japan are going forward than industry. How is your research process maintaining good connection with industry and then the industry put beneficiaries and universities respectively? And I have another question. Do you want to take another question, or do you want to answer the first question first?
Yes.
The second question from Dr. Pupudani Prasetyo Adi. Ohayo gozaimasu, Yasuno Sensei. I am interested in robot arm for agriculture. I think the components and program of the robot consists of a very complex combination of AI, algorithm, and CNN, determining the robot's arm movement or output when looking at the color of tomatoes. My question: how many combinations?
I'm so sorry.
Yes?
I can't. The connection is not so good.
Not so good. Okay, I'll repeat
Very
again.
difficult to hear your voice. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
But now it's okay. Recover the connection.
Yes. Ohayo gozaimasu, Yasuno Sensei. The question is from Dr. Pupudani Prasetyo Adi. I am interested in robot arm for agriculture. I think the components and program of the robot consists of a very complex combination of AI, algorithms, and CNN, determining the robot's arm movement or output when looking at the color of tomatoes. My question is, how many combination of basic components, hardware and software are used to form a simple robot arm that can detect a ripe tomatoes? What is the algorithm used, and has it been applied to other fruit and vegetable crops beside tomatoes? Arigatou gozaimasu.
Oh, so thank you for good question. So tomato is very easy to recognize, capture the cultivation, because the tomato color is red color, is very clear. So it's very easy to detect by using the image processing techniques. But other, for example, the cucumber and watermelons, I think, in my opinion, it's very difficult. But our laboratory use depth camera. Depth camera captures the image color and the depth image. Depth image includes depth information. So this is very useful and convenient. So we focus on the depth information to detect the tomato and other vegetables. I think so. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. And I have one more question just now. It's actually the first question. Most universities research team in Japan going forward in industry. How's your research progress maintaining connection with the industry? and then industry put beneficiaries and university respectively. How are you maintaining with the industry? Operation, yes.
Thank you for your question, Juso. But it's very difficult to answer clearly immediately. So, it's very difficult to answer. So I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for the sharing knowledge, Professor Takashi Yasuno. As a token of gratitude, please allow me to present this certificate of appreciation to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
You are most welcome. Thank you again, Professor Dr. Insinyur Suprapto DEA, Professor Dr. Syed Hussein Assegaf, Professor Dr. Norma Omar, Professor Dr. Takashi Yasuno for the knowledge sharing for all of us. I believe we all learned so much from today's seminar. Once again, thank you, take care, and we will see you again soon. Thank you very much. To all of the participants, we will have 1 hour prayer break. Please join us again through the same Zoom meeting link for one more presentation by our distinguished speaker, Associate Professor Kazi Zohak, PhD from Ural Federal University. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Once again, can I have the closing statement from the speaker, Professor Dr. Insinyur Suprapto DA? Can you please give us the closing statement for 1 or 2 minutes? Professor Suprapto, the platform is yours. How about Professor Syed Hussein Assegaf? Are you still here? Professor Norma Omar. All right then. Then let's take picture together first. Thank you. Please turn on your camera. Okay, let's take a picture together. Okay, next page, please. Thank you. Next page. Thank you. All right. Thank you again. All right. Have we finished taking the picture? Thank you very much. All right. I'll see you again soon in 1 hour time. Thank you.